Be a bit theoretical for now, as I say. However, on top of, or in addition to the recording that Shanaz is talking about, the slides are already available on the council website. So you are free to go in there and check them out. So where we are, I know a lot of people sometimes don't know this 17th of May date. We've got a publication by the Minister of the Regulations relating to continuing professional development. And on the 27th of September, a publication came out of the board notice. 2 board notices came out. One was specifying the people that are supposed, or categories of people that are supposed to participate in CPD in 2019. Not that the others, if they are not stated there, they are supposed to relax. No chill session, but these ones, it's mandatory. So what does it say? The tutors, whoever is a tutor here, you're still in 2019, you're still required to submit the 4 entries. By the way, if you had already submitted 4 in June, you don't have to submit a new 4 now. It still counts in the year 2019. And RPs, inspectors, assessors, moderators, panel members for monitoring visits, etc., verifiers of courses, and who is not stated there is that Ms. Mayman as a member of council falls under the category, and myself as an employee of council who is a pharmacist fall under that category. I'm supposed to have submitted 2. And you will, yes, yes, by the 31st of December, thank you. And then the second board notice is the guidance document for comment. Comments are closing on the 27th of November. We are encouraging members in their individual capacity or as the association to please comment on the guidance document. You will ask yourself what happens on the 1st of January 2020. Council EXCO in November will sign off the board notice for the 1st of January 2020. But let me warn you, 6 CPD entries all across. Whether you are a tutor, as long as you are a registered person, it's 6 entries a year. So that's what is coming. Now, I like that small picture at the bottom. We don't talk about points in pharmacy. We talk about CPD activities or entries. You're not going to do anything that needs you to upload to get points. You are going to upload an activity, and it will count as 1 out of 6. Isn't it? I said 6 from 1st January 2020. So what is expected is the completion of the annual declaration. We record 6 activities a year, and you keep your evidence. Please do not try to upload it. I've had a few telephone calls that this system is kicking me out. Don't upload evidence. Only interns are required to upload evidence. Keep it. I will talk to it at a later slide what happens with that evidence. Designations. If we have gone through the regulations as they stand, it says a registered person must designate themselves whether they are practicing or non-practicing. And I think this is the game changer, because you can pay your fees, right? You remain active on the register. But if you do not comply with CPD, you are non-practicing. So you can stay active, non-practicing, or you can be, for example, on the 1st of May, some of us, hopefully not any of us here, have been erased for non-payment of fees. Here, it's a different story. It's now the designation over and above your status of active or inactive. What does it mean to be practicing? You are performing 1 or more of the acts pertaining to the scope of practice of a pharmacist as you are registered, or of an assistant if you are registered as an assistant. And therefore, you cannot say I'm locoming, I'm not practicing. you do give advice. Even Ziyanda, who is sitting at the office of the registrar, you phone and say, an inspector came here, or I had this patient, and you need advice. What am I doing? I'm giving out my scope of practice, so I am practicing. So we need to be clear to define those. So anyone that is defined as practicing, so every one of us here on the 1st of January 2020, when you go onto the CPD page, you will be designated practicing up until you tell council that you are no longer practicing. Right? So if you are practicing, you must comply with CPD. That means if you are not practicing, it is not mandatory for you to participate, but if you want, you can. Just in case you want to stay abreast. You would be able to change your status from practicing to non-practicing, and you can get back from non-practicing to practicing. All those people, as I said, that are in the board notice that says tutors, inspectors, etc., can never, if you are a responsible pharmacist sitting here, you can never designate yourself as non-practicing. How are you a responsible pharmacist? If you are a tutor, you can never be non-practicing. Clearly. And then non-practicing, the opposite. You are not practicing any of these acts pertaining to the scope. What happens there? One, the first reason why you would be non-practicing is that you did not comply in the previous year with CPD. So this will happen. Let's leave 2019 alone. Let's work for 2020. 31st of December 2020, the expectation is that all of us that are here that have got a P number have submitted 6, right? We will give an extension to go along with the payment of fees, but on the 1st of May, if you have done 4 out of the 6 in the previous year, automatically we move you from the practicing register to non-practicing. You will get reminders just like you get for payment of fees. So hopefully your cell phone number and your email address are always up to date, because that will be the only way we notify you that it's the 1st of February. If you have not submitted, please do so. I think at the beginning of April, we will send the last reminder to those that have not submitted to say, by the way, you still have 2 to go. Be careful. On the 1st of May, we switch. If you declare yourself as non-practicing, as I said, and then you are able to change from now, non-practicing, back to practicing, but with a fee. Practicing to non-practicing, no payment, but applying to get back, it will have some small fee to put you back. So those are the designations. Now let's come to the exciting part. We would be able, after we are done with this app, hopefully you'll be able to get it on your Play Store. What is the other one? On the iPhone, on all those platforms. Yes, in the App Store. Thank you. So when you land, that's your landing page. Your username would be your P number, and the password is your normal password. The only part we've skipped is that ID number. So in the website, you still have to put your ID number, but here it's like a shortcut to there. And once you have entered, it says annual declaration, then your CPD entries. As I have said before, we are supposed to declare annually whether you are practicing or non-practicing. And so now we are at the point of the annual, of the annual declaration. I'm also going to say on Friday we had a meeting. On Monday, I changed those slides a little bit. So I'll speak to something that's not there, but you'll get the updated ones on the website. We thought it might be confusing for someone to think, am I practicing or not? Other people are confused. Like myself, at some point, you think I'm not practicing because I'm not dispensing. Meanwhile, that's not your scope of practice. You've got such a wide scope of practice. So we will start with the employment part. We will ask you, where are you working? Right. If you think you're going to be non-practicing and you are working, then the two don't match, right? So we're going to ask the system to follow you. I'm working in a community pharmacy, this is what I do daily. And then it will ask you of your competencies. So that's the employment part. Oh, it doesn't appear so nicely. The lighting seems bad. I'm not sure if it's me or you can see. Then it's the competencies. We are switching, if you remember 2018, or if you do know, 2018 February, Council adopted the new competency standards for pharmacists. We've already inbuilt this into the app. So it will list the 6 domains. Public health is domain number 1, and then it will start listing the competencies under the domains, right? So you would be able to declare what it is that you do frequently. Those that have done CPD know that I spend most of my time doing this. You'll go through that. It is only on the 3rd stage, if any of the competencies you've selected that I spend time doing this, and it will automatically mark you as practicing on the very last tab because you are doing one of the competencies. But if all of those, all say, I never do this, I never do this, by the time you get to step number 3, it will say, I am not practicing. Do you agree? Then you have to say, I agree, I am not practicing. Right? But at any point, should you mark any of these as, I sometimes do this, or I spend most of my time doing this, when you get to practicing status, which will now be switched to number 3, now it's at number 1, it will just switch to the end. It will automatically say, I am practicing. Then you say, I agree, and you are done with your annual declaration. It allows you to now go into the CPD activities. This designation is very important, ladies and gentlemen. We know how many pharmacists we have on the register, inclusive of CSPs. As of yesterday, we had 16,076, but we would want to know if those people are practicing or not. Right, it is in the interest of servicing or giving out pharmaceutical services. The slide before was that you can be a PMAC pharmacist, that's exciting, but are we there to service? We think a person is registered, meanwhile they are not practicing. So that's how the annual declaration will go. So we employ you, ladies and gentlemen, on the 1st of January. And the annual declaration must be done each year. It says annual. So if you see the following year, the system refuses you to do CPD activities, it's because maybe you haven't done the annual declaration for that year. So whatever you've done in 2019, come 2020, redo. I know this was a problem with interns before they would fold the office on the 3rd of January. But I can see any of my submissions that I did last year. Yeah, do the annual declaration, you'll see all your entries. So I think this is the biggest change of that whole system. And then once you have declared, you are then able to choose out of the competencies. Now I will speak for something that's not in this slide that I'm remembering. It's in the competency standards. Visualize this. You have a domain. It says public health. And under public health, you have got different competencies. Within the competencies, you've got behaviors. The behaviors are such that you are either at entry level in that behavior, intermediate, or advanced. Now, I myself registered, some of us have been registered longer than me, but I've been in pharmacy for 19 years, but I've never registered medicine. That competency that says medicine registration. I've done a whole lot of things, but I've never done that. So I can call myself advanced in the number of years, but I'm not advanced in medicine registration. So when I'm going to perform that competency, obviously I'm at entry level. I'm learning, I don't know a thing. I know a lot about counseling a patient, about telling them about drug-drug interactions because I do this daily in my fingertips, but now I'm doing a different competency, whether by starting a new job or you're doing a locum in a sector that is outside of your comfort zone. That is learning, right? But also, it could be that in a pharmacy there's 20 pharmacists, in some hospitals with a whole lot of pharmacists. So you find another pharmacist is very good at this section, and all of a sudden they're taken into clinical. For them, that is what? An entry level. Even though for the number of years I've practiced, I've been there for a long time. That's how dynamic pharmacy is and how exciting it is. And I'm sure with PMAT, for example, it will be very exciting to see what it is that I can do that I was not able to do. The cycle for the CPD will follow the same. By the way, you can, after learning, realize, oh, I've just learned something. Remember, you didn't think about it before, ne? The steps are reflection, planning, implementation, and evaluation. But in hindsight, I've learned something I didn't know. You can go in and start your cycle at step number 3, but you must complete the whole cycle. Remember, I'm sitting here, I've learned 1 or 2 things I didn't know. I come in at implementation and said I sat in an ICPA symposium at the pharmacy show on such and such a date, and I found out that a pharmacist can do PMAT. Just making a silly example, by the way. You see, I'm at implementation stage already, and I evaluate, now I know this. Reflection would be, I didn't know that I can do PMAT. So you must complete the cycle, but you can start it anyway. So you are not forced to start at reflection. Only interns, oh, your interns don't tell them this story. They are supposed to start at reflection because they are still in training. They are supposed to figure out what it is that they don't know and think about it. You just learn as you go. So I won't go through that boring because that's the part we know. You put in your CPD submission and you enter. This is the part that I want to spend some time learning, which is why we don't talk about points. You can learn in many ways. You can register for a course, a full degree, and you learn something you didn't know, or a number of things you didn't know. You can sit here and learn something you didn't know. I can talk to Mr. Moodley and we have a chat and I find out, yes, I didn't know that. I learned a few things when I visited his pharmacy one day when I was in Durban. You know, so I can take that as a CPD activity. Remember, it's continuing professional development. You're making sure you are staying on top of your game. So, we have just given a few examples what it means. This is not a comprehensive list, it's just examples. To say non-measurable, you're talking about self-study, going on the internet, attending some meeting and finding out something that you didn't know, any course. The measurable ones, it's a short course certificate, so you are free to still attend the Alpha Farm courses or whatever other courses are out there, but they are not the exclusivity for you learning. So nobody must ever come to us as pharmacists to say, you must sit in my course for you to know. And just because a person registers their short course with council, which they can do if they want, it doesn't mean that is the only course you need to do. Right? As when it comes to short courses, it's only your BPharms and your assistants that you have to do those courses. But these short courses, it can be anything. Remember, we also run businesses. So for you to improve your competency, maybe you're learning something about your business. So it's not necessarily the pharmacokinetics of some medicine, it's how to improve your business. So that's learning for you in your area of expertise or in your practice setting or in a new role that you're going to be taking on. And then your structured learning will be a full-on course, really. It's more than 7 months of training, you're sitting there. So you would say, what is my evidence? Here is the certificate that you get at the end. However, that whole cycle will show to us that indeed you learned where you went, which is why it's not about points, it's not about you attending something. Please do attend. When council is not in any way saying stop attending the CPD evenings offered anyway. All council is saying learning can be in any, there's no way I can stress this more than enough, because I think quite a number of our telephone calls, Ms. Mayman, are about, should I be attending this course to get the points? It's not about that. It's about how it is that I've developed myself. So whatever it is that you do that has developed you, it is your learning. Now, this part is really for council in the future. In the next 5 years, council will be moving more towards encouraging us to get used to the system, to really get used to the system and not really go into the assessment like the intern. However, you'll be able to do a peer assessment. We're already developing that. Where Ziyanda P17535 chooses here to say, we are colleagues, can you check my work? And I put your P number there and select you as my peer. And then you can then check and advise me. Look, the peer assessment won't count whether you comply or not. It's just a matter of helping each other out so that we improve our learning. Remember, this is not about submitting gibberish, ladies and gentlemen. Interns have done this where just to comply, because to write the exam I need to have submitted 4, and the intern just submits anything and then they fail at the end. You won't fail, you are already a pharmacist. But we would like this to be a move, because this is an international trend. FIP has the 2012 guidelines for continuing professional development. So South Africa is not doing something that is out of the ordinary here. So those are the assessments. You'll be able to assess yourself, by the way, to select their self-assessment. Then you check yourself, am I done right, and submit, or your peer. Moving forward, maybe in about 6 years or so, is to sample registered persons in a year. Now remember that evidence we say don't upload. If you are sampled in that year, you will be requested for that evidence. So whenever you are sampled, so for now, yes, keep it, but I'm sure you won't be asked for it in this current format. But, and of course, council will announce by way of board notice to say assessments are starting. So the moment I'm selected for assessment, I will be asked for that evidence. That's why we're saying don't upload it now. Clear. So that's where that will fit in, but that's in the future. And finally, you will ask what is happening with the pharmacy support personnel. Council is currently developing competency standards for pharmacy support personnel. Once that is done, and council, hopefully by end of 2020, will have a final set of competency standards, it will be mandatory for pharmacist assistants to submit. At this moment in time, we encourage them to start practicing on the system. But the mandatory date, the date those competency standards are out, we will translate that system exactly to look like the pharmacist one, and pharmacist assistants, technicians, etc. will be expected to comply. So that 2020 definitely will happen. They'll probably start towards the end of 2020 to say maybe submit 1 or 2, but the process of development of competency standards has already started. So it's just a matter of processes of council until the final implementation date. Once that is done, then so they better start practicing now. And I think that is my story. But as I said, more on the app as we develop it. As I say, we made a few changes on Monday after testing it like no, that doesn't make sense. Put that at the end, do this. As we update them, we will put them on the site and make an announcement to the associations and RPs and pharmacists to say, please go onto the website to see how it looks like. The moment the app, but on the 1st of January 2020, this one will be working. This is just testing phase for now. We will say, please go in, download the app is available, and you can start using it. The fun part about the app, you don't need to sit with a laptop, you can be sitting at the airport board, and then thinking, yeah, I left a thing or two where I come from, and then just, you know. So hopefully that makes it much, much, much easier. Thank you very much.